weird. A lot of students have trouble with that one. And this is 0. Okay? So the cosine of 180 is the only one that's negative. And again, we're going to be graphing these, so it'll really come up why these are the answers at a later date. So copy this table. All right, so now I'm going to teach you. You need to memorize this, and that's what makes this difficult. Every single math teacher in the United States, probably the world, who teaches trigonometry makes their students memorize these. There's a lot of different ways to do it. One way is you could just memorize the table. Another way, what I used to do when I was a student, I actually memorized the triangles. And so every time I did this, I was like, okay, I need sine of 60. All right, 60, 30. This was 2, 1, radical 3. So 60, radical 3 over 2. Okay, got it. That's what I used to do when I was a student. But you have to memorize the triangle, memorize the table. The problem with memorizing the table is you have to draw the table every single time. There's this other method that I like to call math gang signs. Other teachers call it the math hand drive, but I think it's funny to call it math gang signs. Okay? Math gang signs. All right. So there's a few rules with math gang signs. So write down right here. Cosine is the top fingers, sine is the bottom fingers, and you flip your hand over for tangent. Okay? Here's some other rules. Your fingers are always radicals. Okay? Your fingers are always your radicals. So write that down. So basically, let me get a marker now. I'm actually going to draw on my hand. 0, 30. Notice they go in order. 60 and 90. Should have done this beforehand, but I forgot. Okay, let me zoom out so you can see my hand. Out. Now we do this with our left hand. Can you see? Nope, zoom out more. Okay. No, it's close enough. There we go. All right, so I use my left hand. So let's say I want to find sine of 30. So what I do is I put my 30 finger down. How many fingers are below my ring finger? 1. So sine of 30 is 1 over 2. Done. Cosine of 30. Cosine's your top fingers, so it's, how many fingers do you see? 3. So it's actually radical 3 over 2. Why don't I say radical 1 over 2 for sine? Because the square root of 1 is the square root of 1. Done. Right? Say you want to say 45 degrees. Cosine, again, cosine is your top fingers. Cosine of 45 is radical 2 over 2. Sine is radical 2 over 2. Same answer. 60 degrees. Put my 60 down. Cosine top fingers. Cosine's on top. Cosine's on top. Radical 1 over 2. Sine of 60. Radical 3 over 2. That's it. Now let's do 0 because 0 is kind of complicated. Cosine's on top. Well, how many fingers are above? Radical 4 over 2. What's the square root of 4? 2. 2 over 2 is 1. So you do have to simplify sometimes. So cosine of 0 is 1 because it's radical 4 over 2, which is 1. What's sine of 0? Are there any fingers below your pinky? No, so it's 0 over 2, which is 0. Right? Now, same thing for 90. I put my 90 down. Cosine, there's nothing up here. 0 over 2 is 0. For sine, radical 4 over 2. Radical 4 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. Now for tangent's a little different. What you're going to do is you're going to flip your hand over. So let's say 45. 45, I'm going to flip my hand over, and it's top fingers divided by bottom fingers. Radical 2 divided by radical 2, which is 1. Tangent of 45, again, radical 2 over radical 2, which is 1. Cosine, tangent of 60. I put my 60 down, flip my hand over. Radical 3 divided by radical 1 is radical 3. Okay. 30 degrees. Now this one's a little tricky one. 30 degrees, flip your hand over. That's radical 1 divided by radical 3, which I just kind of memorized. That's radical 3 over 3, because you do have to rationalize. 0. If you put your 0 finger down and flip over, 0 over radical 4 is 0. And here's the tricky one, 90. Radical 4 over nothing. That's undefined, right? So these are your rules. So I can write these down, show you these examples. But I pretty much did all of it for you. All right, so sine of 30. You put your 30 finger down, and then you're just counting. Sine is your bottom finger, so 1 over 2. Cosine of 30, cosine's your top fingers, 3 fingers, so radical 3 over 2. And it's always, sine and cosine is always over 2. That's why we have the 2 in the palm. Right. 45 degrees. Again, you put your middle finger down. Cosine's on top. How many fingers are on top? 2.